Hey, this is great. Thanks, Ed. Thanks for coming.
My pleasure.
I couldn't agree with you more completely.
Which one of us? Anyhow, thank you, and welcome to the limited series
Oh, yeah, I'm behind you all the way.
for the Wine of the Month Club for 2013 in November. We got one more month left, and then it's all over. Okay.
Hey, welcome.
Want to check your glass, please?
Why? That's good.
Because you can't tell the difference anyway? Is
That was
what
the
you're telling me?
Grenache. That was really good.
Okay, now, there's a very interesting story about this Wilson Daniels Cabernet, and I can't wait to tell it to you. They sued me about
Who hasn't?
30 years ago. Well, my parents sued me, but,
Why?
well, because I produce, they're big importers, and they
Yeah,
import a very famous,
Oh, they're the ones that sued you on the Burgundy?
yeah. Domaine de la Romani Conti. For the life of me, I'll never understand why they could have thought that the two labels look similar. They have a $100 bottle of Burgundy, and I had a $3 bottle of California Pinot Noir, but
It looked identical.
it was close.
Why didn't they give you a cease and desist and just stop it at that point?
They did.
That's so funny.
I
I remember that. I was probably like 12 or something.
I sold it all anyway. I don't
I was
care.
like 15.
I
That's so funny.
sold it all.
Did we had? Didn't we feature it?
Yeah. Are you kidding? Your dad went nuts over it.
That's really
It was a
funny.
lot
Well,
of fun.
so did you write this disdainful newsletter about them?
Did you read the newsletter? You got to restart reading your newsletter. Much
Well,
longer.
it hasn't come out yet.
Oh, okay.
Hey, speaking of newsletters, the catalog is out, our Christmas catalog, and we have some new items and some high-end items for your high-end friends and people you want to impress with your wine selections. You go through there; it should be in your box last month, this month, and next, as well as in the mail. But this is the Wilson Daniels. Now, this is a Central Coast Cab, which I don't necessarily gravitate towards Central Coast Cabernets, but this is really well balanced and just a lot of fun to drink.
I think it's terrible, and I'm giving it a 63.
Well, because they sued you until they give me my money back.
Actually, it's quite good. And the fact is, you got to change your opinion on Central Coast cabs because now a lot of people have figured out how to deal with the cooler climate there and how to have denser plantings in their vineyards and get less off of each vine so the vine doesn't have to overproduce. And now they're making some incredible wines.
This is just great balance. It's not a long-lived wine. It doesn't have a ton of acid, but it's got good balance.
I think this is one of those wines that is going to surprise you with how long it's going to live because I'll bet you it's not real high in alcohol. Yeah, see, it's 12% alcohol.
Oh, that's low, yeah.
The guys are making 13, 14, 15% at Cabernets, and those are the wines that go
now,
down the tubes.
Actually, now I'm getting the acid, too. So I changed my mind, Ed. Am I allowed to do that?
That's great. Yeah, I'm glad you did that. I think it's a terrific bottle of wine. Well, remember, we did the Babcock Classic Rock Cabernet first of the year. I just had a bottle of that the other day. It is better. It's unbelievable.
Say, I wish I'd thought of that.
I don't know why I do these, because he could amuse himself all by himself, crack himself up, have a bunch of little toys here to play with, and be as happy as a little cat.
Hey, I wish I'd thought of that.
Can we give him a number? Can we give him a price?
It's a 96 for me, and it's $24.99 on the shelf. Get more for $14.99. I think $24.99 is undersold. I think the Wilson Daniels, they are big importers. We're selling it for more than that. But now the second red. I love this label. Look, it reminds me of like a hip clothing line. Doesn't it?
Red glass pen. Are you new at this?
Just started.
Yeah, let's see.
22 years. Which, by the way, we're at 600 and something online videos, and I was doing this, and Ed started before Wine Library, before Gary Vaynerchuk. We have to be one of the most prolific wine video sites on the web.
Right.
I think. God, this is so good. This isn't even anything like the Grenache. Excuse me. This is Carignan, Aldelia.
Yeah, it's a little confusing because there's Carignana and then there's Carignan, which is the grape. They have nothing to do with each other. Wow. Man, this is really something. But this is Garnacha, known in France as Grenache. And the fact is, it's a Spanish grape. It comes and is indigenous to Spain, not France, but it makes one of the most famous French wines, Chateauneuf du Pape.
But what a departure from that Wreak Havoc and Havoc and Wreak, whatever it was, or Havoc and Mayhem, that from Australia. Here it is, same grape, different part of the world, This is the most complex thing I think I've
Yeah, it's
tasted
amazing.
today.
Well, Grenache is a great grape, and it grows really well in California. And we have featured some fabulous Grenaches lately, you know. And I think we're going to see a lot more Grenache because it's so adaptable to this climate. And I
This-
think it's just
This is a 97 for me. This is so good. $22.99 on the shelf, $14.99 for more. Probably the best example of a Grenache that I've had, actually.
I'm doing a 98. So there. I don't care.
What can I say? When you're right, you're right.
Oh my goodness. You know, I want hazard pay.
Well, he's not going to bite you.
Stop talking about it.
This is the Merino Chardonnay from Lamari, an interesting district from Chile, which you don't. Forgot who this was. But Chilean Chardonnay, not my favorite in general, but sometimes we really get a stellar example. And this one, wow, is that lime and lemon and citrus are all over it?
Yeah. My goodness. It's like a citrus patch. You know? No oak on this wine. Really crisp and clean. Probably didn't go through malolactic that
No,
converts the
definitely not.
heavy duty malic acid to lactic acid, which gives it that creamy and butteriness. So if you're a creamy, buttery guy, this isn't going to do it for you. But I'm telling you, this is a terrific bottle of wine. You have this with raw oysters, you know,
This is really
on
good.
some Kumamotos on a half shell. It is heaven.
This is halfway up the Chilean coast, which I still just intrigues the hell out of me. Excuse my language, my French, since we're talking about Chile. Where they drew this, even though it's the middle of the Andes, I don't understand how that came about, that they drew that line, and Argentina gets all the stuff on the east side, and we just get Chile gets the west.
Well, it probably had to do with politics.
Now, they said the Pope did it,
Oh, well, that doesn't surprise me.
papal plate.
Yeah. So
Anyway, this is a great example of what Chilean Chardonnay can be, because we taste a lot of them that can't be. And this
Pour
is
them.
$24.99 on the shelf, and you can get more for $14.99. This is a 96 for me. I think it's a great example of what it's supposed to be.
I'm doing a 95 for now, and maybe later, because I think this wine's going to age really well.
Now you saw Ed. Ed noticed right away when he walked in here that on this side of the shelf are a whole bunch of wines that we featured in the club many years ago, going back to my father's selections. And you say, "Gee, Paul, how did you find these?" And they were in a cellar in my. And we'll tell you the story. Ed's coming in next week with my father. They're gonna sit down. We're gonna talk about some of these old wines, and you get a chance to hear some of these great stories about some of these vintages. I mean, what's cool about wine is that you can look at that label and go, "Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
and you can
absolutely.
taste it right away,
I
right?
can remember them.
You can taste
sure.
it. You can taste it.
Some of them I'd like to forget, but you know, and,
No,
and
that's
who,
not true.
and who knows? Are we going to taste them?
You only forgot it because I didn't buy it from you.
Are we going to taste them on the line?
I don't think so.
Well, I'd like to though, just to see if they've held up. You
Yeah,
know?
the cellar. I found them in a cellar at somebody's house. Oddly, that was open. It was an open house in my neighborhood. I went in the basement, and we'll tell that story later. But this nose on this Viognier is something else. This is the
Well,
Ratus Viognier.
I didn't write about this because I didn't think it was that important, but it's really interesting. Very, very good friend of mine who owns Cupay was the
Oh, yeah.
first winemaker when they first started 20 years ago
At this place?
at Rutas. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a great story.
He would fly over there and make the wines for him. He did that for like about five or 6 years.
What I liked about this was the balance. There wasn't overly done either way, and you still get that Viognier tropical character, the banana, but you don't get this big plumpy
Yeah,
thing.
it
Right?
got great acid, you know, and it was a really nice property, really, and they've done a really good job, and they've existed for 20 years in a very tough business.
This makes it a very food-friendly Viognier.
Absolutely, $23.99 on the shelf, $14.99 a reorder price, great price. I'm doing a 95.
I'll go 94. I'm not a big Viognier fan in general, but I think this is a great example of what it's supposed to be. And that is
Our show for November 2013 for the limited series on the Wine of the Month Club.
Oh, yeah, I'm behind you all the way.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse. Oh boy, oh, let's go get some